Welcome back. It's Lach and Raph here. As always, guys, we're on a mission to dramatically improve the health and fitness of executives in Australia, executives and leaders, which is why today we want to talk about the most important steps when it comes to fat loss.
So fat loss is, I would say, most people's goal, right? Fat loss is a huge market. I don't know what it is, but it's a very big market. Here at Locker Room, we are a tiny amount of that huge worldwide market, but it is still a very important thing people come. And that is for good reason, right? It is for good reason because it is unbelievably good for your health. Nearly everything in your life improves, honestly, if you're carrying way too much fat and you get that down to a healthy level. I don't care what people say. It is so good for you, right? It's good for your blood work. It's good for your energy levels. It's good for your self-confidence. I can't think of anything better. I've never met someone get mad fat loss results in the gym, come back and say they regret it. Why'd you do it? I love the way I felt before. Never, ever happens, right? It is good. Doesn't mean everyone has to get like no body fat or really lean, but getting to most people's goal or a healthy level is fantastic. So we'll go into the steps for that. The key point here is that fat loss is all about adherence, so adhering to your plan and avoiding rebounds, right? Because you can adhere and then you can rebound. So your biggest threats in that are going to be two things. It's going to be really tasty, palatable foods, and it's going to be hunger, right? People go off because if you're hungry, you will break on your diet eventually. So we've already done another episode on how to lose fat. That's just consuming fewer calories than you burn. Listen to that. Here are the steps to achieve that with fat loss. First step is you have to choose the type of restriction you are going to do. So I like to say choose the restriction you're going to find easy. You've got to choose one type of restriction to restrict your calories. That could be calorie counting, could be avoiding carbs, could be cutting out most of the fat from your diet. It could even be like a no meat diet, it could be a no sugar diet, it could be vegan, it could be carnivore. All those things is like you're restricting in some way. It's never like a eat everything anytime you want. That's not a good diet for fat loss. Restrict in some way, but I think pick the one that you find the easiest. So often people are like, oh, I tried keto. Just it is the best for losing weight. What they actually mean is that they found it quite easy to do that and be in a calorie deficit. That's what they really mean by that. So if you find one of those really easy, you can stick to that. And we'll have clients do a host of different diets as long as they're doing some sort of restriction. And you got to pick that. I think you got to pick that from the start. I think if you just try and do like a general, I'm trying to be in a fat loss, eating a bit less, usually unsuccessful, right? You got to have a plan for that. That's your first step. Second step is you got to choose your calorie burn, right? So you got to choose, you've decided how you're going to eat less. Now you got to decide how you're going to burn some extra calories. Examples, walking, could be commuting if you ride your bike, could be doing cardio, could be swimming, all those types of things, right? If you can incorporate that into your daily routine, because obviously this is a daily thing,
This is not going to the gym, including
no, this is just calorie burn, right? I think this is a way that like I said, it's like what is a way that you can burn some extra calories. So we're not counting, and we're not going to count your weights for that. That's something separate.
Yep.
This is just a way to increase your calorie burn.
Yep.
So
got it.
Honestly, for most clients, that's going to be steps, right? That's going to be doing extra walking in their day. So it might be they're doing 5,000 now. If you just open up, if you have an iPhone, you go to the health app. I think it's Google Fit. Go to your steps. You can see how many you do. If you average 5,000, this would be like going to 8,000, right? Average per day. So you've chosen your restriction, chosen your calorie burn. Third step is just continuing to do strength training. Or if you're not doing it, picking it up, right? That is going to be like the gym sessions we do at Locker Room. That's 2 to 3 times a week. Basically, this is not an important step in weight loss, but it is an important step in fat loss. Because when you are losing weight, if you can keep strength training in there, then you're going to prioritize fat loss. Your body's like, oh, we need extra energy. I'm not going to take away muscle because we need that for these weights we're doing every single day. Cool, we'll just take it from the fat. We don't need extra of that. So strength training, not critical for weight loss, but it is critical for fat loss. Yep. So you've chosen your calories, chosen your burn, chosen your strength training. Fourth step is you got to track it some way. Tracking is very important for us because we're always coaching. So this allows you and the coach to see what's actually happening. But even if you don't have a coach, it's still important because it just tells you what's going on. This could be a food diary. It could be like a food diary app. Could be a Whoop or like a Fitbit type device for your calorie burn to measure your steps. Watch. Or Apple Watch. Those are all different cool ways to track. I think they're fantastic because what they're going to do is just drive up adherence. I'm the type of person that if I see you're on a hot streak, I keep that hot streak going. I don't even care what the streak is. I just want to keep that streak going, whether it's tracking my calories, hitting 10,000 steps. And a lot of people, if they're successful in their jobs, they love to hit metrics, see graphs go from bottom left to the top right. And that's what a lot of these different ways of tracking are going to do. The tracking that we say is mandatory at Locker Room is a scale. So tracking your body weight at home.
Yep.
We like to do that daily. so you can like really track it over time. And then body fat scans we do at locker room, that's going to be more like once every 6 to 8, 12 weeks, maybe before the diet, end of the diet, not every single week. But that's going to be it. So it's going to be tracking your food some way, tracking your weight some way, and then occasionally doing body fat scans. And the reason this is so important is because this tells you, do you need to restrict more, or do you need to increase your activity more, or are you doing really well and you actually can restrict less, right? Because we're usually aiming for around that 1% or less body weight lost per week is a really good goal for clients. If you're losing too much, we're going to know if you're tracking. If you're not losing at all, we're going to know when you're tracking. So that's the reason we track. Fifth one is avoiding rebound. So this is unbelievably important. The statistics say 20% of people who have a successful weight loss diet, so that is 10% of body weight lost or more. So already, most people haven't been successful with the diet, right? Yeah. These are the people that were successful. These are like the high five, before and after photos. Awesome. 1 in 5 will maintain the weight loss, right? Wow. So it's pretty dark statistics. Another really cool example I saw was they did a 2016 Harvard study. It's Harvard, you know it's correct, right? And they did it on the Biggest Loser contestants. I think it was from Series 1, the US version.
Series 1?
Which I actually watched. I don't even remember
that 1998?
I don't know, I was 7. Oh, it could have been, man. This was like
2001?
No. I think it was early 2000s because I remember I had a TV in my bedroom. So it's kind of how I planned dates. Anyway, that was an awesome show. But they had 14 contestants that they tracked. They all lost 40 kilos plus. This is like serious weight loss. They tracked them, I think it was probably like, nearly 15 years later. 11 out of the 14 were the same weight or heavier than they were on the show.
Oh, wow.
Heavier. And some they even felt had permanent actually damage from doing on the show. So 3 out of the 14 had actually were just less than what they were on the show. So point is that most people rebound. That's why we like to say, the diet ends after the diet ends. And that is the reality, because what is the point of doing a diet? To rebound. We can get to another show, but like that is even worse than doing the diet in the first place. So you have to avoid the rebound. The way we do that is it's planning. So avoid a diet ending the day before a holiday or the day before. Don't finish your diet one day before you get married. Because what you're going to do after that is you're not going to want to track your calories. You're not going to want to keep on the diet. You are going to completely rebound. You're so hungry and you will gain the weight back very, very quickly, right? The best way to do this is just plan to have a period of time after you've lost the weight you want to lose, 2 to 6 weeks, where you still are like focusing on your diet. You hope you still got a coach working with you, but you're eating a bit more. So you're not trying to lose weight, but you're trying to maintain the weight you've lost. And that's just a way you can lock it in, right? Lock in the gains and you're much more likely to maintain it forever. So that is the 5 steps to weight loss. One bonus tip I'll give is that our belief here is that weight loss is generally all about preparation, right? Literally, almost no one will stick to a diet if you had to live your entire day in an all-you-can-eat buffet. But I think most people that go to jail probably do get in pretty good shape, right? There's weight because they just eat the food that you give it, right? Yeah. So a lot of it is just about your surroundings. So the only way to change your surroundings is through your preparation. So that could be signing up for a meal prep, could be a private chef, could be meal prepping at home, could be the meal delivery. Whatever it is, it's about the preparation. And I do love to say, for executives in particular that are doing well with their career, it's an awesome problem to throw money at. So if you can throw money at your diet where you get the private chef, get the meals, that is an awesome way to get in shape. And it is a problem that money can solve.
Yeah, I agree. I think there's so many options these days that can give you calorie-controlled, healthy meals that you'd be silly if you have the resources to not go for those options.
Yeah, don't do it on hard. Don't if you turn up to work in the city in particular with no plan for your food and expect to hit these steps, man, you virtually have zero chance because the world is designed to not have you do that. You need to not go with the flow of life and you need to course correct and be intentional about how you plan your week.
Yeah. Planning is an essential part of a weight loss process and dieting. And then the good thing is you don't have to plan forever, but doing planning for significant chunks of time rebuilds new habits.
Yes.
And so that all of a sudden you always get up and you get the right supplements in and you have a good breakfast and you always get off to a 50% much better start or 100% much better start. So yeah, some really good steps there. Hopefully you guys will start implementing them and sticking to them for long periods of time, especially avoiding that rebound. That's going to make a big difference. But as always, thank you so much for tuning in. We hope you enjoyed it and we'll speak to you all next week. Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. If you want to get the information in this episode and more, you can download the 30-day health optimization blueprint, which is all the tools and tactics that we use with our clients every day for 30 days. We'll deliver you an email in your inbox, just head to lockerroomgym.com/blueprint to get the emails. That's lockerroomgym.com/blueprint.